It's Ricky Stokes. It's Monday night. It's 8:36 p.m. I'm in Abbeville, Alabama. It is May the 3rd, 2021. I'm on the steps of the Henry County, or the grass of the Henry County Courthouse. I want to make you aware of something that happened this past Saturday. You have a Henry County Central. It's the dispatch for Abbeville Police Department, Henry County Sheriff's Department, for Abbeville Fire, Abbeville Rescue, for Screamer Fire, for Shorterville Fire, for Hellberg Fire, for Hellberg Rescue. At 5 a.m., the dispatcher called the director of the Henry County Central Communications and said, "I am sick, I will not be there at 6 a.m. Through phone calls, nobody physically came to the Henry County Central Dispatch, which is located at the Abbeville Police Department, and handled anything. They called the 911 director to forward the 911 calls to Headland. From 6 a.m. to about 10:30 a.m. Saturday morning, there was no dispatcher on duty at the Henry County Central Dispatch. The phone lines at 585-2222, which ring in the Abbeville Police Department, 585-3131 that ring at the Sheriff's Office, that are forwarded to Abbeville when the Sheriff's Office is closed, no one was answering those phone lines. Now let me tell you what's important about somebody answering those phone lines. The pendants that senior citizens wear, that they press, the advertisement, "Help, I've fallen, I need help." When you press those buttons, they ring the non-emergency lines. They don't ring 911. They ring 585-2222 or 585-3131 is where they ring if someone needs help and they're failed and they cannot get to the phone. Your burglar alarms, they come in on your non-emergency lines. They don't come in on 911 lines. From 6 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., there was nobody there to answer those telephones. All right? The Abbeville Police Chief is not in charge of the Central Dispatch. And the way it's set up, the sheriff's not in charge. It's set up that your EMA director, Ronnie Dollar, is in charge of your Central Dispatch. Now, there's a lot of people that don't like Ronnie. There's some that like Ronnie. I know how it is. A lot don't like Ricky Stokes, and I don't care. But he is the EMA director. Then the commission chairman made him personnel director. Then he made him deputy coroner, and now he's over Central Dispatch. He's got too many hats with not enough time, and can't effectively do any of the jobs. But Ronnie should have gotten out of bed and come to Abbeville, Alabama, and dispatched until they could get a dispatcher. If he doesn't know how to dispatch, he shouldn't have been in law enforcement this long, and he may not know the technology, but if he's going to be in charge, guess what? It's time to learn the technology. That's part of what comes with being the boss, of knowing how to do things. And it's unacceptable there was nobody in Henry County Central Dispatch. Now, Abbeville police officers, from 6 a.m. to 10:30, there was nobody that could talk to them. Headland Police Department does not have the ability to talk to Abbeville Police Department and to their police officers. All right? They could talk to the Sheriff's Office, but couldn't talk to Abbeville police officers. So from 6 till 10:30, no dispatchers. On top of that, they had about 1,000 people during the day here in Abbeville, Alabama, because of celebration. I always get the name wrong, but whatever the celebration was Saturday, they had about 1,000 people throughout the day. I know that the ambulances had to come up here from Headland to some calls because they had several medical calls. Now, last Saturday, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that, there was also another problem. Do you know that Hellberg Rescue was dispatched by Henry County Central to a medical emergency that was off of one of the county roads, 500 and something, that drove from Hellberg to Dale County to answer a medical emergency? Okay? You're listening to me right. From Hellberg, they never dispatched the closest ambulance. And I'm telling you, because I've been in some major fights in another county, you dispatch the nearest EMS when there's an emergency. You dispatch the nearest emergency provider. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable not to have Henry County Central, not to have a dispatcher. It's 24/7, 365 days a year. You realize April was 12 years ago that a Henry County Sheriff's deputy got shot in the face and ended his career in law enforcement, almost ended his life? And when assistance was called for, which was via a Southern link, and Headland and Abbeville had different radio systems and channels, a Headland police officer comes in, and guess what? He was killed 12 years ago, April, 12 years ago. A couple years ago, a Henry County Sheriff's deputy had to use deadly physical force out here on Highway 431. A couple years ago, I know there were shots fired. I don't remember whether they wounded the person or killed the person here in Abbeville. So it's reality, it happens. And Abbeville police had nobody to talk to. Now, the sheriff and the chairman, they think they got it under control. We don't need to meet. It's just one of those things that happen. Guess what, gentlemen? It's one of those things that's not acceptable. Now, I came up here and refereed a meeting several years ago between then the police chief and mayor, between the sheriff and commission chairman, and the Headland police chief and Headland mayor, okay? And they got really nowhere other than I said, you're stupid to have 3 dispatch centers. Now they cut it down to 2. They're stupid in this county to have 2. One dispatch center can handle the radio traffic for this county. There's more officers on duty in Dothan or Houston County, one shift, than they are law enforcement officers in this entire county. And they need 1 dispatch center. Here's another thing, Henry County Central does not have what's called EMD, Emergency Medical Dispatchers. They say there's no law that requires them. I think if they'll look under EMS, if you dispatch an ambulance, you're supposed to be EMD certified. And they're not EMD certified. I'm gonna pause for the semi. Let me tell you what's important about it being EMD certified. If you got somebody not breathing, and about 6 minutes is what you got to get them breathing again. This county is a rural county that ambulance has to come from Abbeville up to the lake or Headland if Abbeville is busy. If Helberg doesn't have a crew, comes from Headland, okay? You got somebody to start stepping you through life-saving measures to save lives. That's what we're about. That's what your emergency service is about. And it just makes my blood boil, and that's why I'm up here at 8:43 at night in Abbeville, Alabama, cutting this to let you know what's going on. It's about saving lives. And if you're gonna have a dispatch center, it's got to be operational. The person in charge of it's got to be able to walk in and sit down and be able to start dispatching if need be. And you only need 1 center. Right now, Headland is set up turnkey operation. 48 hours max, probably 24 hours. It can be up and operational in 1 center in this county. You, the people of Henry County, Headland, Abbeville, Newville, Helberg, Henry County, 564 square miles, I think, give or take. You deserve that. You deserve better than they're doing. And I am appalled that the leadership is turning their head about it and willing to accept not having somebody. I can't wrap my head around it because I've dealt with emergencies. I've responded to emergencies. Seconds count. Saturday in Dothan, Alabama, seconds counted. That in 19 minutes from the call received, the young man's at the hospital. In Geneva County, 51 minutes from the time the call would hit, the person was being backed up to the hospital in Dothan, Alabama. Great time in Geneva County. Everything clicked. The dispatcher's getting survival flight going because of the severity of the injuries of the wreck. Emergencies never make an appointment, okay? And whoever thinks it's acceptable that the Abbeville police didn't have nobody to talk to, nobody to answer them, nobody to check on them. If they needed help, nobody to answer them on the radio. That's not acceptable. And for them to sit on their dwarfs and do nothing about it is not acceptable. Now, This Hatfield and McCoys, this is because I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't trust him. Get over it. Okay? They're people in responsibility, and this isn't a turf war to see who's got bigger muscles than the other. This is about the safety of the citizens, the safety of the officers, and the people deserve more. You realize Saturday was a week ago in this county, there was a trailer overturned with entrapment from the weather. Do you realize that? Do you realize, people, what I'm saying? That it's unexpected that that would happen? And what if they couldn't get an answer? What if they dialed the regular number? When people have an emergency, sometimes they don't think, and they may know the 585-2222 number or the 585-3131 number. It's 24/7, 365, okay? And I'm sorry that if you can't wrap your heads around what emergencies are. And it's time to fix it. It's time for one dispatch. And it's time for you, the people, to say to the leaders, because it could be you tomorrow. It could be your child tomorrow. It could be your child that's struck on their four-wheeler. It could be your husband or wife that has a wreck or has a heart attack, or your mother or daddy that quits breathing. This is serious, people. This is not something to laugh about and not something to ignore. And I am appalled that David Money, I'm appalled that Will Maddox is taking the callous attitude of, well, sorry. And same with Ronnie Dollar. The only thing I'll defend Ronnie is he's got too many hats on, and he's not effectively doing any of the hats. And it was his duty to get up out of bed and drive up here and start dispatching and make sure everything was handled. And it was not handled, and it is not acceptable what took place. Okay. Start acting like adults, folks. Now, let me say this. Eric Blankenship, the police chief in Abbeville, he didn't call me on this. In fact, no law enforcement officer called me on this that I found out about it. I've known about it since Saturday, and I was hoping they were going to meet today. Blankenship was hot. I talked to Ronnie Dollar Saturday also. It's his responsibility, Ronnie. I don't blame Eric for being livid. It's unacceptable behavior. But the sheriff, probate judge, said, we've already met, we don't need to meet anymore. Bah humbug. You two need to grow up. Move that comm center to Headland and have one comm center. You don't want Mark Jones in charge of it? It's a turnkey operation. Put an independent person in charge of it, not Ronnie Dollar. Put an independent person in charge of it to manage it if you have that much of a problem. But I'm gonna really tell you something. You know what's a shame? Shame in a county this size, y'all don't have any trust for each other, and you're supposed to have each other's backs, okay? Y'all all need to start thinking about you serve everybody. Citizens come through to and from, okay? In Dothan, Headland residents are in Dothan every day. Do you think Dothan should take the attitude, "Hey, you're not from Dothan, I'm not worried about you"? No. Public safety is about the safety of anybody in your community. And what happened is unacceptable, and I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out on behalf of the people of this county. I'm calling you out on behalf of the people that travel to and from through this county. I'm calling you out about the people that was at the lake. I'm calling you about the people that was hunting. I'm calling you about the elderly people that live in this community. And what you're doing is unacceptable. If you want to debate it, 790-1729 is my number. I will bring the camera up. We will turn it on, and we will debate this issue any day, anytime you want to. All you gotta do is call me. And I guarantee you won't call me to go live on the camera because you know I'm right. It's Ricky Stokes, Abbeville, Alabama, in front of the Henry County Courthouse. And y'all need to get on your public servants. They're not officials, public servants, and make them fix this problem and start acting like adults. Thank you. Have a good day.